Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Yes, thank you for joining me again this beautiful day. My name is Adenike, and I try to have conversations, whether alone or with friends or interesting people. So today I'm going to be talking, and I hope it doesn't become a rant, but you would understand why I am justified, if I choose to rant. And yeah, so I normally will have the video and just be still, but today I have an errand to run, work related, and I really don't want to get late. I normally would have been driven by the driver, but last night I told the company that I outsourced his hiring to please terminate the contract from my end, and I'll tell you why. So almost all my life I have been driving. I've been driving since I was 16, if my memory serves me right. And if you've read my book, Adenike, I shared on there the experience of what it felt like driving my dad's car, up until I had a crash and all of that. So from then I've been driving, and then I lost my limb and I continued to drive. And a few years ago I was going to renew my license, and then I found out that there really is a class for persons living with disability. I had never found out, I had never known about that all my life. So I went to their office, and then I did the test. I did a driving test, like a real driving test, as well as a written test, an exam which was marked, and then I got my license. So I've always automated my renewals. So imagine my shock when earlier this year I got a job, and that literally meant I had to commute more. So first day I did the commuting, going and coming, because at that point the Third Mainland Bridge was shut. Okay, so I went to the mainland, and then coming back, going to the mainland it took me about 2 hours, and then coming back was about 3 hours. I was a mess. The next day I couldn't do anything, so I knew I needed to get a driver ASAP. But I didn't know who to reach out to, I must be very honest. And then conversations came up, and then two persons that I trust their judgments on matters of this nature referred me to a company whose identity and name I will shield for very obvious reasons, because I'll be honest to say that you can try your best as a brand to recruit the best people, but you will still meet some olorire people, who happens, where this driver happens to fall under. And they have taken full responsibility. They really did handle it well, I must be very honest. So I'm not going to disclose their identity, because it wasn't something that anyone could have known except on the job, which is what happened to me. So the driver resumes, and the contract states categorically that he'll resume by 6:30 a.m. Every morning. But because I never set out by 6:30, I just didn't think it was necessary for me to say, oh, resume by 6:30 and just be waiting for me. And I stay in a place where there is no room for the driver to just come and just hang around. It's either he's coming close to where we're heading out and all of that. There is no security post where I can say, oh, go and sit down with this person, or go and stay here. I don't have the luxury of all of that. So I knew that because I would not be commuting every single day, it wasn't necessary for the driver to show up every day. So one, he wasn't resuming by 6:30 every day. Two, he wasn't showing up every day. So on days that I was certain that I wasn't going out, I was working from home, I'll tell him, hey, don't show up, that kind of stuff. And it felt like everything was fine. But then the second or third day after he resumed, I had asked my husband to please give him the stuff that he'll need to wash the car. So my husband comes upstairs and tells me, oh, that I'm not sure about this guy. I'm like, oh, what happens? He says the way the guy just reacted when I handed him the things to wash the car with. So I'm like, okay, you know what, maybe this is a one-off, let's watch how it goes, blah 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 blah. Then I called the company to just ask to be sure, because I remember that their contract stated that the driver's major everything was the car. So I called the company up to find out if his responsibility includes cleaning the car. And they were like, of course, everything that has to do with the car, blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay. And then they say, why? Then I tell them, they say, oh, okay, that just please observe it and let us know. So because at that point my husband was working from home, right, most times when I will get back, he'll be there to open the door and help me with my stuff. Do you understand? So this particular day, I noticed that this guy was just acting funky. He didn't say hello, he didn't say hi. My husband wasn't your employer, agreed. But they're just little things that, you know, courtesy demands. So right in his presence, you know, without my husband's knowledge, I just say, hey, mister, if for any reason you are rude to me and I let it slide, the moment you cross this part and then you're rude to my husband or anything, you will lose your job from this end. I would ask the company to let you go. And then he said, oh no, that's not it. Oh, that he said hello to Oga, one thing. Then I noticed he started to call my husband boss. You know how guys go, is chairman, boss, and I found it very interesting. But because I'm not a woman, I didn't think there was any need to say hello sir, good morning sir, you know. So you just say, boss, good morning, boss, good day, you know, that kind of stuff. And they were both cool with it. So there are pockets of stories, and I'm really hoping that for whatever it is worth, we as a people really do introspect. So this man had done so many things, and you know, it would take 3 stories for me to start to share all the things that he had done, you know, for the how many weeks that he worked with me for. But I'll just highlight a few of them. The first day he took me to a friend's studio and we were heading out. The first thing she said to me was, tell the company to change this man. I'm like, why? She said, this guy is going to get out of hand. I'm like, hey, now wow, okay, you're the second person telling me this. The third one, he took me to my auntie's house. And my auntie and I had spoken inside, and you know when you're heading out and then the conversation starts again on the outside. And the conversation started, before I knew what was happening, the guy had turned the music on, the glasses were down. I was wondering, this is interesting. Now, of course, there's a Bluetooth in the car. And because I normally would sit at the back because of COVID, I do not enjoy sitting at the back. I've always enjoyed sitting in front. Now, note that I also had to struggle with being driven, you know, because I've always driven myself. So I had to struggle with having someone drive me. And I was getting to a place where I was also trying to understand how I could become productive, even when I was sitting at the back or someone was driving me. Do you get? So with that in mind, one day I just told him that, look, I'm not sure you know I can drive and all of these things, you know, that you do. And that was because he had driven in a very funky way. And I'm like, this is not how to drive. Imagine someone reversing, and every single time he would reverse, he would use the hazard light. And I would just, you know, not count it to mean much. By the 4th time, I'm like, hey, what's with you and using the hazard light every time you want to reverse? And this guy had the audacity to say, that you know, when they're reversing, you need to use hazard. I'm like, during the day, are you joking? Then he now started that he has been driving for so many years. I just kept quiet. One day, out of annoyance, I actually told him, I'm not sure you understand what you're doing, but I didn't come to your house to ask you to get a job. You sought employment and then you were referred to me. So I'm not sure all of this. When I told him that, he was taken aback. Now, my normal nature, at this time, I normally would have met the driver's family, met the kids, met the wife, you know, understood what their immediate needs are, look at myself or my immediate network, how can we make their lives better? But I never did all of that. I just didn't feel, you know, good in my spirit. But I also didn't feel the need to let him go. He back to back doing rubbish. So at a point, my husband, you know, in my opinion, just went, just keep quiet and listen to me. But you could see the look on his face like, madam, I've told you what to do. Let this company change this guy. I just continued. Ladies and gentlemen, until last week. Now, this driver did not know that the car has a tracking device, right? And he went to service the car. Let me give you a background story. So the car dealership calls me up and says, oh, the car is due for servicing, blah blah blah. I'm like, oh yeah, that's so true. That okay, I will see what I can do, but timing isn't pure for me. Do you have an early time? How long will it take? Can you give me specifics? So the woman was so gracious to say, okay, since you want to know how long, you know, a 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2 hour window, how about you get your car to us at so and so time? And I knew that the timing they were asking me for wasn't particularly a time that he could make if he resumed at 6:30, right? So I then called him up. I told them, please let me get back to you, and then we can talk about this timing. I called him up and I said, hey, you need to go service the car. This is what they're saying. Can you make it? And he just excitedly said, no problem, I'll make it. So the day before, the dealership calls me up to say, hey ma, just a reminder, hope your driver will make it, because I already mentioned that the driver was going to bring the car to theirs and all of that. And we were in the car. He could hear that I was speaking to them, and he didn't say anything. So imagine my shock when I got home, and much later in the day, he was about to hand me the key, and I went, oh, by the way, so you come at so and so time, blah 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 blah. And this man just goes, ma, can I come at a different time, because those people, I used to work with somebody before who also had gotten a car, or who used to service their car with them, and I noticed that they kept me from as early as I got there till 3 p.m. I was so shocked. My husband was standing beside me. You could see the disgust on his face. He just walked away. And then I didn't say anything, because I knew I wasn't going to be productive if I had said anything. So I just said, you know what, I'll give you a call. So I called him shortly, maybe 15 minutes, no, not up to 15 minutes. And I say, look, your job is everything that has to do with this car, right? You will come at this time, okay? You will take this car to the dealership for servicing. You will wait for as long as they require that you wait, and then you will bring back the car. And he started to say, the next thing I said, okay, man, I don't hear, I'll come. And then he went. So I followed, I opened the tracker, saw that he was there. He already called me, they want him to sign this. And I'm like, yeah, sure, go ahead, sign that. That one isn't a big deal. So imagine that he did not know there was a tracker in the car, okay? And I then checked the tracker and noticed that this guy had stopped, because of course the tracker will show you moving, stopped, at what speed and all of that. I saw stopped, and I noticed it wasn't it wasn't he wasn't moving, he wasn't in the house, he wasn't at the air, anywhere. So I then call him, and as I'm talking to him, I'm enlarging the tracker. I'm like, hi, where are you? And then he says, oh, I am at the traffic light. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I enlarge the map again on the tracker. I'm like, you are the traffic light? Then I say, where exactly is it you say you are? He said, traffic lights, ma. At that point, I just said, hey, mister, I've never told you before, but this car has a tracker, and you are not at the traffic lights. Then he goes, ma, the thing is that my wife, Kiniko, said this and said that. And then I immediately end the call, and then I call the company like, look, I think I've just had it. I need this guy to be moved. And I'm not going to mention it to him so he doesn't pull up an attitude. Please do not mention it to him until you get a replacement for me, and all of that stuff. And mentally, I knew that he was done. Our work relationship was over. So imagine my shock when, listen guys, he didn't come to work on Friday, Good Friday, right? Said that he's head of department in his church, blah, blah, blah. And I just had one errand to run. So I said, in my mind, I'm like, you know what, there'll be no traffic. You can do the driving yourself. So he called me like past 10 to say he was heading my way. I said, you know what, just happy Easter. Enjoy your Easter. Now, the contract states that if there are 2 public holidays, the driver takes one and then the employer takes the other. And that means the driver rests on one and then he works on another one of the 2 days. So he did not come on Friday. On Saturday he came for just barely how many hours. Monday I didn't have a need, he didn't come. Tuesday, which was yesterday, I normally will tell him the day before what time to show up, and then I called to say, hey mister, show up at 8 a.m. because we have. And then just last night at 8, about past 8 or so, this man says, oh ma, I've not been feeling fine the whole day. And I was I was beyond shocked, like the audacity. And I'm narrating all of this to tell you how for a lot of us it is very difficult to help people. Very, very difficult. This is somebody who, according to him, had been out of a job for a while. Went to get a job. I'm sure he had sought other jobs and did not get any security, so decided to come on this platform. And the experience was horrid. I am open to experiencing, a different driver, because, like I said earlier, the two people who referred me to this company had given me amazing reviews. Amazing. One of them had used the company well over 2 years, no problems. So I then escalated, and then I spoke to the boss of the boss last night to say, look, I think that this person is going to give your company a bad image and create a terrible perception in the minds of people. I'm gracious enough not to go on social media, in quote, to drag you guys or whatever it is we call, because really there is no need to drag. There is really no way the company could have known that this person lacked professionalism. Do you know this guy showed up at work one day in slippers and socks, and when I asked him why, he said all his shoes rain beat 4. He mentioned 4. I was so confused, because by himself he had mentioned to me that he once worked with a financial institution, and my question to him was, if you were still working with so and so bank, would you have shown up at your place of work in slippers and socks? And he kept quiet. A lot of people want to help people. A lot of people want to invest in people. A lot of people want to impact lives. A lot of people want to influence lives. But with the experiences of this nature, it makes it really, really, really hard. But I'm just sharing this experience for you to understand that a lot of people around me did not understand why I had allowed him to hang around for so long. And I believe I do not owe anybody an explanation. I believe it was my personal conviction. I just knew it wasn't time. And the moment that it was time, I knew that it was time to let him go. After speaking with the escalating the issue last night, I immediately blocked his number on all the platforms, and as well as his wife's number, because I do not want anything to do with a person of that nature. He's lazy, he's unprofessional, he doesn't want to learn, yet he's hungry and he's looking for a job. That is the reality of a lot of people in Nigeria. So I'm very certain I did not do wrong, and I'm very certain that I am not feeling guilty. I did feel a tint of guilt at a point, but it's gone. Prayed over it and it's gone. So don't let people let you become who you are not. It's difficult to help, it's difficult to assist, but just continue to be you. You will meet your people in due course. It might cost you a lot, but hey, you'll be well. Okay, please share with me your I want the horrid experiences with employees that you've had. Horrid with employees. This is my experience. Let me know what it is. Let me know how you handled it. And thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share, and see you again sometime soon. Okay, thank you again, everyone. Bye.